Hey, how you doing? It's your boy Stephen Lee on System Unfiltered. Today we're going to talk about some jobs out there that you can't have bad actors, right? Like kind of like airline pilots, where you can't have bad airline pilots where they decide, oh, you know what, I'm going to decide to crash a plane today, and so forth and so on, right? And policing is one of those jobs where you can't have bad actors, and you have to have 100% good actors. Um, I'm going to share this, and is basically Sergeant Javier Esqueda from the Joliet Police Department in Illinois. So check this clip out.
He also says when he tried to tell a police captain about what he saw in that video, he was told to shut up about it. The video was later shown to pastors in the area, but Escada claimed it was doctored, so he gave the video to a local TV station to release. Days after the video was published, Escada was reassigned to administrative duties, and he was charged with a felony. Official misconduct. Escada resigned from the department in 2022. The charges dismissed last year. Now, the Joliet saying tonight it is unable to comment on pending litigation.
Yeah, so a lot of people say that, we should stop officers should stop bad actions of other officers, and other officers should also speak out on things like this. And when we do, a lot of the times the department pushes back and they label you a rat, and they retaliate against you, and then they file charges and dirty you up and stuff like that. Today, I have Sergeant Javier Esqueda, ex-Joliet police sergeant, on the show, and I want everyone to welcome Javier. Javier, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. Let's talk about the video first. So it says that you spoke out about the bad actions and they didn't take proper action, right? So what action is it that they should have took, and what's happening in the video?
Stephen, you and I have been friends for a while just from what you and I experienced together. And the same thing as law enforcement, the same playbook every department uses to go after good cops to do the right thing. In that video, so to start things off, what people should know if they don't already know is that I didn't even know about this. So the reason I was made aware of this by another fellow field training sergeant was because it involved a field training officer and a recruit that I was in charge of their training. And I was not made aware of what happened in this case with Eric Lurie because they doctored the daily observation report for that day in training. They made it seem like it was a routine call. They went to arrest a guy. He became combative and they got him medical assistance because he was overdosing on drugs. That was how
Also,
brief that daily observation report was.
so they lied on the report, basically saying that they took proper action and he was combative.
Yeah, they absolutely doctored it. So the department knows, a lot of the officers know what kind of a sergeant I am. I was always honest, did the job right, like you and I always expect other officers to be like. But the underlying thing with police departments is there is that blue code of silence, and there's people on the department that you don't realize that they do a lot of things that you and I know or found out about that they do. And we're really surprised because we think everybody's like us. Take the oath, be an honest cop, do the job. And that's not the case. It's not the
Right. They
case.
expect you. They expect you to sacrifice your morality and honor in exchange for silence.
Yeah, and that's not the case with us. We did what we were supposed to do, you and I, do the job right. And then we find out the hard way that not everybody is like us. And when we do what we're supposed to, the same playbook of retaliation comes to play, and you wind up being the bad guy. Your fellow officers turn their backs on you, people that you've known for 25, 30 years, that you thought were friends from one day to the next. Guess what? They ghost you. You're
Yeah,
the bad
they
guy,
do.
not the players in what they did.
Yeah,
So in the case
yeah.
of
A lot
Eric
of them.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of them turn their backs on you because they're fear of themselves being retaliated or blackballed, where they can't move up in ranking, and discharge transferring different units and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I labeled the officers that turned their back on me cowards, and a lot of
Right.
them got mad when they heard I said that, and the fact of the matter remains, you don't turn your back on your real friends and family. They did. Almost the entire police department turned their backs except for the Black Police Officers Association of Joliet. They
Right.
had my back the entire time. Detective
Nice.
Dave
Nice.
Jackson, a good friend, called me a hero. And to this day, they still back me and always have. And me,
Nice.
I'm the secretary of the BPOA, the JBPOA.
Okay.
And everybody else, other than like maybe 3 other officers and the BPOA, to this day still talk to me and remain my friends. 200 officers other than that, when they see me, they act like they don't know me. Even though I
Yeah,
was vindicated, and when they found out I was vindicated, people wanted me to be convicted knowing I did nothing wrong.
that's crazy. Yeah, like, I mean, you're fortunate enough to have, fraternities and the police association to back you up. The Asian J Society didn't even help me. Actually, some of the members hurt my case and stuff. So let me ask you a question, a couple questions, right? Brief background. How long were you a police officer?
Wow. At the time that I found out about the Eric Lurie video, I was already an officer 27 years.
27 years. And you were the training sergeant, correct?
I was a field training sergeant. So I was a sergeant on the street, but also assigned to field training.
Okay, so you know what you're supposed to do. You know the rules, you know the tactics and stuff like that, proper procedure. So in that video, what were the proper steps that they were supposed to take?
Well, that part of the video that Channel 32 showed, I didn't even know Channel 32 Fox even presented that. I was surprised when you showed that. Seriously, I didn't
Oh
know
yeah,
that
I,
one
I
came out.
googled you real quick. Yeah, I googled you real quick and that popped up.
Yeah, I
So
never
what
even
what
saw that.
so in the videos that you know of, what are they doing and what did they were supposed to do that didn't do?
Okay, so what Fox showed, they didn't even show the worst part of that video. So when we look at the Fox video, they just show Eric Lurie in the back of the seat chewing on something. And then they skip over to where he's already dead, and they're sweeping his mouth with a dirty baton,
Yeah,
pulling
I
back
saw that.
out of his mouth. Yeah, so
Yeah.
what really happened, that part of the video, when the officers put him in the car, they already said he possibly had drugs in his mouth. Department policy says if you suspect anybody, an arrestee, of having any kind of contraband in their mouth or they're having a medical issue, you are to get medical attention immediately. He should have either been, and we call an ambulance. We never really transport people by squad car. But in that situation, they weren't more than 10 minutes away from Silver Cross Hospital. So they could have taken him right away, but policy says to call for an ambulance. They advised the sergeant. The sergeant said, no, we'll take care of it when we get to the station.
That's crazy. Yeah, NYPD, we call it a bus, right? Short for ambulance also. So we call a bus also, and we have them transported to the hospital also for detox. Yeah.
Right. And they were supposed to get an ambulance. Sergeant said, no, wait till we get to the station. The station's 11 minutes away, the PD on the east
Wow.
side. So they
That's
drove him. And
crazy.
in that video, you see him chewing on something, right?
Right.
Well, at that time, they already knew he was chewing on something. They didn't care. They get him to the station. The officers get out, and and in the actual video, because there's 3 different angles of that camera view. There's that backseat view and 2 forward views of that in-car video. You see the officers get out, and they talk to the lieutenant and the sergeant and tell them what's going on. First, they try to give Lurie a sternum rub, like we always do to wake somebody up.
Yeah.
A lot of
Mhm.
all across the nation, officers do that. A
Yep, we
sternum
do
rub.
that too.
And they were like, "Hey, man, quit." They're actually telling him to quit faking it.
Oh,
So
wow. Yeah.
then the sergeant comes on the other side, the sergeant of the drug unit, goes up to him in the video, grabs him by his throat, and then slaps him and says, "Wake up, bitch."
Wow.
And then grabs his nose, cutting off his airway. In the state of
Wow.
Illinois, they passed a law over 10 years ago. You cannot cut off someone's airway in order to try to retrieve contraband.
Yeah, I saw him grabbing his nose. Yeah.
Yeah. But
So
they,
so what happened after that?
yeah. So then he holds his nose
Mhm.
and his throat for a minute and 38 seconds.
That's a long time.
He
That's a
suffocated.
long time.
So
Yeah.
what happens if you say you have a piece of gum in your mouth and I grab your nose and cover your mouth and you're going to try to breathe and you can't breathe through your nose and say you can get your mouth open, what are you going to do? Suck air
I'm gonna
in,
choke on
right?
the gum. Yeah, I'm gonna
Yep.
choke on the gum.
So
Yeah.
he had baggies in his mouth. He choked and suffocated on those baggies. Because what they don't show in that video coming up when they're sweeping his mouth and getting the baggies out, the
Right.
last baggie they get out of his throat looks like a condom. It's about that long.
Wow.
And they pull that out of his, he was already dead. They claim, the department, after they got him out of the back seat and put him on the floor, they ran in and got a defib. They claim that with the defib, they were able to get some kind of a pulse, a signal. They claim that he actually didn't die. They brought him back, which was bullshit as a cover up. So when they transport him finally to the hospital, he's brain he is he's brain dead. So they have him
Wow.
on a machine. The sergeant who actually suffocated him meets up with Eric Lurie's wife, Nicole, and tells her what happened, his side, and he's the one that suffocated him. So the coroner, so here's the thing, you and I both know how all this works. Everybody's in cahoots with each other on the cover up. The coroner at the time says that no, he wasn't suffocated. He died of the drug overdose.
That's
So
crazy.
then his coroner's report comes out, not yet to the public, mind you. It didn't come out till after I blew the whistle,
Mhm.
the report. And then the state's attorney of Will County went off of that and said the officers did nothing wrong. Nothing. So part of the video, so I want to bring forward to you is that what they don't show on that either is when the sergeant slaps him and calls him a bitch, says, "Wake up, bitch." He looks up at the camera, the audio gets cut out. So the
Wow.
department was trying to say it was a fluke. It
Yeah, yeah,
wasn't.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
exactly what I thought happened. They tampered with evidence, is why I went to watch the video the second time and I copied it because
Mhm.
I knew that video would disappear if I didn't do that.
Right.
So it comes out after I blew the whistle. They put the sergeant on administrative leave as well as the FTO. I'm sorry, the sergeant on administrative leave. The FTO did it. They started an internal on both of them 6 months later. The officer admits in the internal, and it's in the lawsuit that Lurie won and just got paid, Nicole Lurie, he admits he tried killing the video because he knew what the sergeant was doing was wrong and didn't want him to get into trouble.
Wow. He admitted to
Admitted
that.
it.
Wow, that's crazy.
Admitted it.
And what
And
happened to that officer?
6 days off. That's a federal offense for tampering with evidence.
Yeah,
Got
'cause
six.
they actually award you. They like that, right? They like where you're trying to, like, enforce this blue line, right? Of the blue wall of silence and stuff. They feel like you're a team player and you're looking out for the team, which is crazy in my
Yep.
mind. It's crazy.
6 days off on an internal. And then the sergeant, he wind up getting 6 days off for calling him a bad name.
Wow.
No battery, because he slapped them. Now you tell me, in all the years you've had first aid training, what does it say in first aid? Subject who's overdosing on drugs or choking, you hold the man's nose and cut off his airway, slap him really hard and call him a bitch.
Absolutely not. You're not. They didn't try to administer Narcan or anything like that? Nothing?
No.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and you know what?
That's
What's
crazy.
sad is I always carried Narcan because I would
Yeah.
always fly the calls to try to help people and administer that to bring them back.
Right.
They didn't
Yeah, and
care
N
about
NYPD and NYPD, all officers are required to carry Narcan, right, in case of overdoses and stuff like that. At least when I was on patrol, I always carried Narcan in my patrol bag and stuff like that, or make sure the car has it, and it's just amazing to me that, it's they didn't
They
even
didn't
try to.
require it on Joliet. They asked officers if they wanted it.
And Joliet is in Illinois, right?
Yeah, Joliet is in Illinois. It's about 100 and it was about 187,000 people. It's like the
Uh-huh.
third or second largest city in Illinois. We are about
Okay.
50 miles away from Chicago, and it's a big department considered Illinois.
How big is the
320
department? How
officers.
many people you say is in your
320,
department?
yeah, 320 officers at the time. And that's considered a big department in Illinois because the largest one is Chicago with over 13,000
Yeah.
officers. And like you
NYPD
guys,
is 30,000 deep.
that's what I mean, 30,000. But how many of those 30,000 are actually working officers that aren't ghosted on the schedule? Same
That's
thing like
true.
with
That's true.
Chicago. Yeah,
That's
you got
true.
the guys that are golfing every day while you're busting your ass on the street,
Right.
and you have the ghosted
That's true.
guys getting paid and playing golf, right? So
So, Javier, tell me what happened after, like, what was your first steps in whistleblowing? Like, when it says that you released the video to the media, right? Is that what
yeah.
happened?
Yeah, so this is what happened. So 5 months, almost 5 months after TV, so this happened January 28th with Eric Lurie. It was my
Uh-huh.
day off, I'm on day shift, so I didn't even know about it. So January 28th, sometime around late March or mid-April, a fellow field training sergeant, you're gonna love this, who later on, after the bad players, the chief, his deputy chief, and all of them were forced to go back to their rank because they took someone from within and made him a chief. She became the same field training sergeant that told me about the video, became a deputy chief. And get this, you're going to love this. So the new female chief and this female deputy chief went against what the city manager told them to leave me alone. They pushed my internal. They hired an outside agency to do my internal. and they found me in violation of 16 policies. 16 policies. The only policy I violated was talking to the press without direct consent of the chief.
Right. We have that too. It's like you have to clear with, deputy commissioner of, what is it? I forgot the name, but it's he
Like
basically
me,
handles the press. Yeah, and they tried to charge me with that also when I went on the podcast, but it's First Amendment speech.